Hello, it's Tom, editor of the Popcorn Muncher, and welcome once again to the Popcorn Muncher YouTube channel. Today I'm very excited to bring you guys a review of Paddington 2, which is finally due to arrive on Blu-ray and DVD in the UK on Monday, 12th of March. Now, anyone who has read the site or listened to the Popcorn Muncher podcast will know that I absolutely adored Paddington 2. It was my favourite film of 2017, and I stand by the belief that it's among the best sequels ever made. The first Paddington film is a charming, joyous piece of work, but Paddington 2 exceeds it in just about every way. It takes every element of what made Paddington work and turns it up just one more notch. At least that was how I felt when I saw the movie at the cinema. 3 or 4 months on, will Ben Whishaw's charming CGI bear have the same impact the second time round on the small screen?
Must be the popping book. Very interesting.
Really?
You see, Madame Koslover's great-grandmother, who started the fair, was also a brilliant artist. And every time they visited a new city, she made a popping book to remember it by.
Oh.
And this is London.
Oh, Mr. Gruber, it's wonderful.
The short answer is yes, yes, and yes again. And yes, once more for good luck. Paddington 2 is a beautiful movie. British cinema often finds itself steeped in bleakness, whether it's the kitchen sink realism of Ken Loach or the Hood trilogy of Noel Clarke. Paddington 2 shows a completely different side to UK film. It's a cuddlier side, and a side that could not be more adorable. This time around, with Paul King returning to direct, the movie follows the simplest of narrative premises. Paddington just wants to buy a present to send to his Aunt Lucy, who's living in the home for retired bears. And he has his eye on a beautiful pop-up book of London landmarks, which is in Mr. Gruber's antique shop. He gets a series of disastrous part-time jobs in order to save the money, but just as he's about to buy the book, he witnesses a thief stealing it from the shop late at night. And when the thief disappears, he finds himself jailed for the crime. In jail, Paddington wins over Brendan Gleeson's ruthless prison chef with marmalade, of course. Meanwhile, the Brown family, who are trying to prove Paddington's innocence, begin to realise that the true thief was Phoenix Buchanan, who is played by Hugh Grant at his most flamboyant. He's the lovey to hate, complete with at least half a dozen theatrical disguises. Of everyone in the movie, Grant is obviously having the best time. He absolutely embraces the self-parody inherent within the role and fits into the kind of colourful cast of people living in Windsor Gardens. As far as I'm concerned, he was absolutely robbed of the Best Supporting Actor award at the BAFTAs, and he peppers his dialogue with this ridiculous silliness, whether he's referring to Paddington as young Ursine or dubbing his own backside at Mr. and Mrs. Bottycheek. It's just a delight to watch. Finally, he has some of the glint in his eye that made his Prime Minister in Love Actually so entertaining. Finally, some of that glint in his eye has returned. And they didn't need to do a single joke about him having a bag back to manage it. Elsewhere, the movie is just a beautiful delight. Ben Whishaw has the perfect innocence in his voice to play Paddington, and the same permanent expression of ageless wonderment that powered The Shape of Water gives Sally Hawkins another wonderful performance. The rest of the cast is packed with British comic royalty, and every single one of them is drawn just well enough for them to be a neat cog in the Paddington machine. And that's before we get to the ending. I won't spoil the ending here, but I will say that it brought about a hell of an emotional reaction from me. I have no problem crying at movies, even the bad ones, but it's fair to say that on a second viewing, Paddington 2 absolutely destroyed me. To describe my reaction to the final scene of this film, I'll try to paint a picture for you. So, imagine the guy from the Leave Britney Alone video had recorded it while chopping onions and watching a montage of the incinerator scene from Toy Story 3, the opening of Up, Leo dying in Titanic, the Take Her to the Moon clip from Inside Out, and every scene where a dog dies. That's what we're dealing with here. I cannot stress enough how wonderful Paddington 2 is. It's a thrilling adventure experience, a laugh-out-loud family comedy, and an emotional powerhouse, all at the same time. It wasn't eligible for the Oscars this year, but I will be right on board with any campaign to push it to the Academy next year. With Hugh Grant and his various disguises leading the charge, it's time for Paddington 2 to win big. As Aunt Lucy always says, if we're kind and right, the world will be right. And nothing would be more right than a Paddington 2 clean sweep. In the meantime, we'll just have to settle for watching that Blu-ray over and over again.
Would you excuse us a moment?
What are you doing?
Talking to the nice men.
Nice men?
Mary, we can't trust these people. I mean, look at them. Talk about a rogues gallery. Hideous. And as for that bearded baboon in the middle, he's hardly got 2 brain cells to rub together.
We can still hear you, Mr. Brown. That was the light you turned off. The microphone is on the other side. It's got microphone written on it.
But let me know what you think. Let me know if you enjoyed Paddington 2 like I did, or if you're baffled to the amount of gushing I've just done over the last 5 minutes. Either way, though, remember to subscribe to this channel, leave a rating and a comment on this video, and of course, head over to thepopcornmunch.com for reviews, news, podcasts, anything a film lover could want. And also head down to the description of this video where I'll be putting our various social media channels. So give us a follow and come and say hi. Thank you very much for watching.